amazing. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Very cool, man.
Thank you.
Everyone, please welcome the Thunder Duo to Drumeo.
Hey.
Yeah. Now, if you don't know who the Thunder Duo is, we have on the drum kit here Gábor Dörnyei. He's been at Drumeo before. It's good to have you back.
Well,
you are not only a world-class drummer, you're also a professor at the ICMP in London, and you've done some pretty amazing stuff. And you guys haven't checked out his lesson on Drumeo. We have a YouTube version of the one he did live. We also have a whole course inside of Drumeo, so check it out. And beside him, we have world-class percussionist Cornel Horvat. Woo. Yes, great job, great job. Cornel is an unbelievable percussionist. He was voted #1 percussionist in the world by Rhythm Magazine in 2016, correct?
Exactly.
It's crazy. And the setup you have there is really cool. We're going to hear more of that as the lesson goes on. But both you guys have also collectively worked with a world-class guitarist, Stanley Jordan.
Yeah, we still do, yeah, absolutely. It's a new project. It's a quartet with Stanley and also a Chilean bass player. We have Christian Galvez, who's a world-class player, fantastic.
Very cool. Yeah, you guys are killing it. And you guys are one of the oldest or longest-running percussion drummer duos out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've been friends for over 20 years now with Cornel, and we've been playing as a duo more than 12 years now. I approached Cornel with the idea of the duo in 2005. In February 2005, that's when we had our first gig. So 12 years and running strong.
No kidding. Well, good for you guys. Good for you guys. And now we have you on Drumeo, which is really cool. The lesson today is on how to play with a percussionist, which, I mean, obviously you can see this is a perfect setup for that. But if you guys are here tomorrow, we're going to be live again, public to everyone who's watching here. Tell your friends. We're going to be live for a performance from Thunder Duo, where it's not education, it's just awesome music and rhythm.
Playing, yeah, performance, yeah. Looking
really
forward
cool
to that one as well.
Check them out. You have a DVD that you released a couple years back. This is available at Hudson Music Digital. You can find it on their website too. And if you want to find out more about Thunder Duo, thunderduo.com, cornelhorvat.com, GáborDörnyei.com. I'll post all the information in the description of this video. But before we get too far into it, Gábor has given me 5 pairs of sticks. His signature stick.
Vic Firth, yeah.
Vic Firth signature stick, really cool. We're going to give all 5 of these away to 1 lucky winner. That's a pretty hefty little bundle there. So once we release this YouTube or video lesson on YouTube, just leave a comment below. It's so simple. And just tell us what you think the best part of this lesson was. And we'll randomly select one, and we'll ship you 5 pairs of Vic Firth sticks, Gábor's signature model. Okay, so huge thanks to the sponsors for helping bring you out here. Zildjian, of course. Tycoon Percussion. We got here, I think, a couple days back, and all of a sudden there was like, I don't know, like 20 boxes of percussion stuff, which was really cool. Obviously, Remo Heads, thank you so much for helping us out with that. Pearl, Vic Firth. Am I missing?
Yeah, just a couple of little things. I'm also using the great Heartcase products, which is a British company.
Right.
And these brilliant little Sky Jails, which is little damper pads.
Very cool. Very cool. I think that's enough for me talking, because I just want to hear you guys play more, and I want to hear what you have to say. So, how to play with a percussionist?
Well, that's a very good question. I think it's a great title, thanks to you, because basically what we like to create here is, and also in my general teaching, wherever I teach, you know, I've been approached since I was 17 for private lessons, and I always enjoyed seeing the people grow and learn and play better day by day. But there's one thing that is very important, in my opinion, on top of the technical facilities and being as fast as you can and as smooth as you can, is the musicality.
Right.
Because my point is that we don't want to create bedroom drummers. Because the whole thing of playing music is sharing the joy and the enthusiasm and the passion about music. Now,
right.
Music is a wonderful thing that helps you through a lot of things, good times and bad times. And you know, once we share the stage, suddenly from that moment onwards, you're not alone on a drum kit as a solo performer. And this goes for if you just play in a duo, or this goes if you play in a quartet, this goes if you play in a big band, this goes if you play with, I mean, through my career I had fantastic opportunities to play with the rhythm section and an 80-piece classical orchestra.
Wow.
So, you know, whatever you do, you need to know your place in the music for that particular ensemble. Now, when you play with a percussionist, to break it down, there's a couple of things that is very important to keep in mind. One thing is the volume, which is the most important thing, because everybody's got their sort of comfortable volume to play with. Now, if your comfortable volume goes from here to even louder, then it's very likely that he's going to break his fingers within the first 5 minutes, because we're just stronger, we're louder with the tools that we have, with the wooden sticks, than if someone plays with their bare hands. So if you're a solo drummer in
20 minutes.
20 minutes? he would last probably 20 minutes. Now, when we do like an hour and a half or 2 hours shows and clinics, then he would kill me after 20 minutes. He would just come in knock my head to calm down. So that's one thing, because I think musically it's very important to be able to play certain things at a different dynamic level and a different speed. Because very often I find amateur drummers being able to play one thing at a certain volume and a certain speed. Okay, so it's very important. Like when I was younger, even younger, I mean, of course, because I'm still very young, I used to practice very quietly and very slowly, because that was one thing to clarify what is it that I'm really doing. What is the right hand doing? What is the left foot doing? So I really clarified what is it that I wanna work on. What is it that I want to express with my playing, and what is it that I wanna clarify? What is it that I want to as a final outcome to sound like? So when you break it down, you slow it down, you play it quietly. First of all, you can practice for much longer periods of time, because back in the day I had the time. I don't have it anymore, but back then I had. And so there was the first thing is that I started working on is the volume. Now. You can reduce your volume several ways. First of all, try to play much more quietly, and also the choices that you make in your tools. You probably noticed that when we started this piece, there was this amazing melodic instrument that Cornel used, which is originally from Switzerland. This instrument is called the hang drum. Now, the hang drum is the sort of hand-played version of the steel drum. Cornel is going to demonstrate this little melody for you, which he wrote, and we titled it, the first composition, Hung Samba, after this. And you will probably notice I'm going to demonstrate the grooves when I'm playing them with the brushes and with the sticks, how much quieter that is, and how much more flow and how much more life I can give to Cornel's solo melody over this piece. So in order that melody can stand out, if I were playing this groove with the sticks, you would probably hear something like the melody would not come out, as clearly and as enjoyable. And also at the end of the piece, probably you noticed that I was also trying to play something jazzy, something that lets the music breathe. So I've moved on from my snare pattern, which is very often played in Brazilian music, because that's a samba groove that I played, and the floor tom goes on a two, like one, ka-doom, ka-one, ka-boom, ka-boom, ka-that. So my groove was. Normal sticks, it would be just too much. So I had to consider, okay, sound choices, let's go with the brushes in the first time around. But because I had the big solo piece, which we're also going to talk about in a second, in the middle of this song, at the end it would be very difficult to change back to the brushes. So what I did was I moved on to the cymbals. And that's enough, sometimes it's enough. If there is someone playing a nice melody, you don't always have to play a full drum kit on full volume. Right. So sometimes you can choose elements of the kit that you want to use. For example, the ride beat with some additional hi-hats. Also, the other thing that is very important, that you can add your bass drum pattern, not on a full volume, because if you play in a rock volume, then it's just going to stand out too much. So you got to sort of improve your foot technique to the level that you can play the same pattern on the same speed, but much quieter. Other thing you might have noticed is the left hand. Why did I change to the traditional grip? Now, the main thing about the traditional grip, first of all, 95% of the time I'm playing the match grip. I'm a match grip player. I have a sort of a mirror image setup, so this is my center point, and I'm moving with both hands to both directions, okay? Because the match grip is probably, we can state that this is better for moving around the kit. Now, for the traditional grip, the big difference is that all the weight of the arm, and I nicked it from Steve Smith, who has an amazing instructional video drumming technique out there. He explains the way that the weight of the arm is underneath the stick. And when you play match grip, then the entire weight of the arm is on the top of the stick, so you're naturally going to be more heavy-handed. And there are certain sort of finger techniques and light touch techniques. You know, you mainly play with the thumb and the index finger, middle finger here. You can play really nice buzzes and a couple of accents. Of course, you can play loud notes as well with rim shot and everything. But generally, my touch becomes softer, much lighter, more sort of musical in the way that I don't feel like I'm overpowering Cornelius' melody. Yeah. So I automatically change to that when I play swing or something that is more quiet, like Latin stuff, samba, something like this. So these are sort of natural reaction that, of course, I've practiced for a long time, you know, to play with the traditional grip. I started that maybe 20 years ago when I first saw the great Joe Morello, and he had a wonderful instructional video. And that was the time when I really started understanding that what is happening here with the motions and the fingers. So, but the reason why I'm using it, there's a musical reason behind it. So we mainly want to talk about music today here, and how to play together, because you know, suddenly I'm not alone behind the drum kit and playing as loud as I want, because then I'm going to kill the music. And that's the very last thing you want to do, trust me. Okay, so I changed my patterns according to the melody. First I went with, I played the first round with the brushes, and then we had a conga solo section, which comes over a certain polyrhythm. Now that polyrhythm we also like to break down, because I received a lot of questions about that in my first Drumeo appearance, which is titled Percussive Drumming and Independence. Please check it out if you haven't seen it. And there was a polyrhythm that I broke down back then, which I wrote a chart for, which we're going to record tomorrow for the course. For Drumeo members, it's gonna be available, and that's a 4/5 polyrhythm which we play together. So I play a groove which is a simple paradiddle groove, right left right left right left left, between the hi-hat and the snare drum, and what I'm playing is a 5/16 polyrhythm against it on the left foot. Now the 5/16 is a very interesting rhythm because it comes back, it resolves on the one after 5 bars. So what, another thing that is very important if you want to be a professional drummer, to be able to follow the form. Now normally we have 4, 8, 12, 16 bar musical forms, but this one is a 5-bar form. Okay, so it's a little bit more difficult, more advanced, and of course you want to finish the section after 4 bars, because this is how you naturally feel it. But with the 5s on the left foot, it's going to come back after 5 bars, okay? It's going to resolve after 5 bars. So what we're going to do is Cornel plays a solo when we can probably count together. You can count with us. You're going to show the bars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Okay, so that's going to be the one. So he plays twice the 5-bar form on the congas. And then he changes to this very, very special instrument. I don't know if we can show a close-up from that instrument. This one is Cornel's invention. It's a very, very unique instrument. Yeah. There's a musical reason for it, again. This one is called the Udu carry from Tycoon, which is a mixture of an Udu and a check carry. So there's a hole on the top, like the bass hole, goom, goom, for the goom, goom sound. Really cool. Nice. So it's a mixture of an Udu. There's a hole, and of course it's a normal check carry. So it works for both functions. And so after twice the 5-bar section on the conga solo, Cornel is going to change to that. And that's where I stop playing the 4/4. So try to keep the 4, okay? All the way through. It's all the way through, it's in 4/4. But we have 5-bar sections. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Very cool.
So it's a little bit harder to keep because you have the ton ton gun gut bum bum the cut cut. So basically the polyrhythm is these are the quarter notes, yeah. The 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to help us counting?
Yeah, I just want to know what are we looking for the students as to playing together as a percussionist on that section there? Because there's a lot. Now we're talking about a polyrhythm. There's so much going on. As a student trying to learn how to play with a percussionist, what was the key thing to take out with that?
Okay, now the key things. Of course, this is a very complex piece. As you pointed out, sorry about that. No, it's all but
good.
We can't help it. You know, this is how our brain works. You know, Cornel has the same crazy ideas, and I have the same crazy ideas. I mean, the reason why I first sort of formed the band and approached Cornel with this is because I wanted to play my crazy ideas more musically. So I thought, okay, who could really add to this? You know? And so, of course, Cornel's amazing technique and sound choices allowed us to make my ideas more musical in the sense that we play them together. So basically what happens here, what I'm trying to point out is the importance to keep the form, because the form is very important, and of course the sound, to get the sound together. So probably you notice in the piece that when I had my solo part, I played the same parts much louder, much harder. Okay, so when Cornel comes in, of course I had to drop the volume without slowing down, because that's the most natural thing that amateur drummers do. When they play a certain thing and then they take the volume down, the tempo drops drastically. Yeah. And when they come back up with a louder piece, they speed up back again. So the tempo moves. Okay, so it's a very important thing to keep the timekeeping, keeping the structure, and keeping the volume under control. So these are, I would say, probably 3 of the most important elements that we try to point out here. And the other thing is, of course, being able to play polyrhythmic pieces together. Now, for example, when Cornel changed to the Czechary, he played a 5. We play a 5/16 rhythm, which is 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 ta 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 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 ta ta 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 ta 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 ta. Now, for that, you really need to be able to listen. Okay, so that was another thing that we discussed before, that how important it is when you play together with someone to listen and react to what the other person plays, because suddenly you're not alone anymore. You're, Yeah. Okay, so for that one, of course, timekeeping, the awareness of the musical period, which is 5 bar, 5 times 4 bars, and of course being able to play the certain here and play the polyrhythms against it. So the hearing, the ear training is just as important as your technical chops. Now, Jojo Mayer told me back in the day that if you want to play fast, you need to hear fast. Okay, so it's very important that you hear the different subdivisions and different polyrhythms or cross rhythms over a 4/4 in order to be able to execute them together. Because if you lose the beat, then the whole piece is going to fall apart. Okay, I'm not saying that the point is that the audience loses the beat, but the person who plays it should never lose the beat. Okay, so let's just work out this rhythm together. What we're going to do is you'll help us counting.
All
okay,
right, let's do it.
And you'll count the 4/4, and we play the 5/16. Cornel on the Czechary, I'm on the hi-hats, and we help you counting. Okay. Okay, so you're going to count 4/4, 5 bars. Okay, and then we hit the 1.
Got it.
And repeat. Okay.
Let's do it.
Az ötös, jó? 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Exactly. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a very cool part of it. Now that's just the 5/16 over the 4/4. You can start doing the same thing with threes. If that's the beat, then you can start. You can do the same thing with 7. I just want you to train sort of to hear the different odd time signatures and polyrhythms going against the 4. You can do the same thing with 9. In this particular piece, we chose the 5 because that went really well with all the patterns that we're playing. And another thing that we wanted to point out about this this piece, it's titled Hung Samba, is Cornell's hand technique. Now, this is something that is very, very unique, and Cornell's always been a very extremely individual player. Now, he's invented this technique, which is totally individual and a very unique around the world. We've not really seen anybody playing this. It started in the 70s when he's basically he's been just listening to the radio, and there was no instructional, there was no Drumeo in the 70s. There was no other instructional videos, nothing, and he was just trying to work out how those Indian players achieve that great speed. Now the difference is that they play on the tabla with the fingers only, and Cornell was started experimenting with different techniques, and then he came about this this motion, which he's going to explain.
It's very important, the hand position.
Yeah, the hand position, yeah.
And the first time in the outside.
He plays it on the outside of his hands.
Yes, and this is the start. The start stroke.
Yeah. So it's like almost like a backhand that you play when you play ping pong.
But it's a crazy.
Crazy motion.
And after it's work and the other stroke inside.
Yeah.
Outside, inside. Outside, inside.
Yeah. When he plays the outside, he uses the nails of the fingers as well.
Outside, inside. Outside, inside.
Unreal. I can see why, Cornell, you were voted the top percussionist in the world in 2016. That's incredible.
I can probably keep up with him like outside, inside, but it's already hurt.
I know, I couldn't do that. No way.
Yeah. Now, very important thing, couple of things about this technique that we wanted to share with you here is it's Cornell's invention, and it came from the desire to achieve speed, because this way, with like it's an extremely loose wrist motion and also a bounce. Now, it's very important that he never leaves the hand in there. It's like when a boxer, makes a punch. He never leaves the hand in there because that's the time when it really starts to hurt. Yeah, so what you want to do is a quick attack and then pull the hand back. So that's what he does quickly. It's the outside and the inside. It's always a double stroke. So it goes like out, in, which is even more unbelievable than how he achieves that speed with it. But he certainly does somehow. And it's basically the same thing for us drummers that I was also trying to point out in my last lesson. I never, unless on purpose, I never leave the stick in the surface, whether it's a right cymbal or snare drum. I never sort of play into the drum or into the cymbal unless that's the sound you're after.
Right.
But generally, you should always try to play out, play off the surface, you know. Even the floor tom, you know, which is the loosest head on the whole kit, bounces the stick back all the way to me. All your job is to allow the stick to come back to you.
Right.
Because if you play into that, that's the best way to hurt your hands, damage the drum head, break the sticks, and there's no point doing that. Now, the other thing, similar to the sticks, which is an extreme advantage of this technique, is Cornell can play it on any surface. Because if you play with the regular conga technique, which is a palm down, very likely you're mostly going to use the congas, bongos, djembe, but he can play it on the cymbals as well because it comes back so quickly. He's going to demonstrate it just super quickly, the advantages of this technique.
Unreal. Unreal. I would cut my hand if I did that.
Yeah.
I know I would.
Yeah. No, it's the speed, and of course you try not to catch the edges, you know, but playing on the surface, so it's very important. So these are the most important elements, you know, that we try to keep in mind when we compose our music. Of course, the other thing that we do. There's nothing wrong with jamming because all about, you know, music for us is all about having fun and keep that enthusiasm for music. I mean, I've been, you know, playing for 30 years. I started when I was 10, and this year I'm going to be too many. This year I'm going to be 40. I've been playing for 30 years, and I enjoyed every single minute of doing
right.
this.
That's good, yeah.
So it's a wonderful thing. That's the joy of playing music, which you should always keep, because that's the message here. You know, to share the love for music and share our knowledge. And so jamming is a very, very cool thing because you just have general fun with playing with another person. But for us, we thought we were a little bit more organized if we create certain compositions where, of course, the time signature changes, the mood, the sound, the style is changing. Now, the other thing that is equally important in our Thunder Duo music is the improvisation. So now how do we complement the soloist?
Yes.
This is a very, very interesting thing. Yeah. So, for example, in this piece, what you just heard, probably you noticed that in the Cornell solo section, of course, I lowered the volume. I kept the same pattern, but I lowered the volume. Now, very often when we improvise, I just try to be a cushion. I just try to be a soft blanket on the drum kit without being too harsh and too loud, just to give him space to play. And when my solo part comes, then I will play. You know, I will flash. So you don't always have to flesh, try to think about music, try to think musically. This is our message. So we're just going to do a little improvisation where I play with the mallets, which is again another color that I use, and Corny is just going to improvise over it. We have this pattern that we play. This is in 4/4. It's going to be much easier to follow, and it's inspired by a great groove from Simon Phillips, who was the drummer with Toto at the time, and it's a brilliant groove that he played on the Tambu album, and I'm just going to play that groove. We normally play this piece as part of our improvisational section in our clinics and performances, and Corny is just going to improvise. So you'll see how much room you can give a percussionist if you provide a solid foundation. Okay, so the groove would be something like this.
Very cool, yeah.
So you just play a nice to the melody, nice to the rhythm, something that is soft, and also a very important thing that happens in jazz. I mean, you have a lot of choices. This is what I love in jazz and about sort of world music, improvised music, is that you have a lot of choices, and there's something that I learned from Tony Williams, the great Tony Williams, after reading one of his interviews, and he was talking about the choices he makes when he plays with Miles Davis, and basically he said something that you either follow him and repeat the rhythm or join him playing, say, a cross rhythm, a polyrhythm that he plays in a moment, or you play against him. You play something totally different, you know? So you have the choices that you make. Sometimes I go with him if he plays a polyrhythm and I try to repeat or just join in the flow, or sometimes I play something completely against it. So there's a lot of choices that you can make, and that's the beauty of the music.
Yeah, as long as you're thinking about it that way, you're purposeful with what you're doing. You're not just thinking just as a drummer, right?
Absolutely.
You guys are a duo now.
And yeah, absolutely. And back to my point, which I made, it's very important, and I think the hardest part in the improvised pieces or improvised sections is not to lose the beat. Because basically what he, say for example, if he was playing something like need to have the awareness of the musical period and the beat, where the beat is, because if you risk that, it happens very often, even with professional players as well, that they lose the original beat once they introduce a polyrhythm against it.
Right.
Okay, so that's when you have like real timing and polyrhythmic awareness of what's happening in the music.
Love it.
Yeah.
There's so much information is coming out right here. I'm gonna have to watch this one a couple times. And what I love is just the fact that you're able to demonstrate, and you can see. I mean, these guys have been playing together for 12 years.
Yes.
You're saying so. You guys know each other very well. But there's a lot of times you probably played with other percussionists that you've never met before.
Yeah.
So you're constantly listening to them, or you're constantly just keeping an active ear for what's going on, right?
Most importantly, and also the other thing that the first point, just coming back to the first point that we made about the volume, that I was lucky enough. I'm not a very loud drummer. I've never been a very loud drummer, but I was told from an early age that I'm being too loud. Particularly when I started playing in a jazz band. You know, before I relocated to London over 10 years ago, I played in the Budapest Radio Big Band, and it was a jazz band. And you cannot just play as loud as you can. You got to be aware of the room and the entire band and the volume. Whether you play for a recording, whether you play for a live session, whether you play open air, or you play in a classroom. You know, I see students, you know, playing like this, like in Wembley Arena, when they play in a 20-piece classroom. You know, so you need to be aware, so like to try to be an all-round musician. That's my message here. That's what we're trying to do, is to be aware of the circumstances, be aware of the other musicians, be aware of the polyrhythms, be aware of the pulse, be aware of the timekeeping, the polyrhythms, everything that is happening in the music. So with our next composition,
yeah, let's do it.
We'd like to demonstrate another very, very interesting thing, which is often happens in fusion music or even Eastern European folk music, when people play in odd time signatures. Okay.
Okay.
So this is again an interesting piece that is titled Transylvania Express.
Okay.
And it features an odd time signature. We would love you to hear, I mean, actually two. We'd love to hear your comments.
Guess the time signature?
Guess the time signature. It's not that difficult at all.
So there's two of them in here?
Yeah.
Right.
You're easily going to get it. And then we break it down and we try to explain what's happened here. Okay. So enjoy Transylvania Express.
All right. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Wow, very well done. It's crazy how engaging just two rhythmic players are.
Wow,
You know, it's crazy. It's really cool. I can see how you guys have been doing it for 12 years. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Transylvania Express, that one's called.
Well, Transylvania Express, there's a lot to take in. There's a lot to talk about.
If you guess the time signature, then leave a comment below this video. We're not going to give it away.
Okay.
I want to see all the guesses down there and the comments and all that. But very cool. Absolutely. How are your hands not bleeding?
I don't know.
There's no idea. He just plays. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, if I hit like the drum twice like that, I would break probably my fingers. So it's a lifetime. You know, he's been playing percussion for like 30, 40 years. I mean, Cornel started out as a flute player, and I think that's one of the reasons why his playing is so melodic.
Yeah.
So I just try to keep up with the speed, try to keep up with the great rhythms that he plays. And as we discussed before, you know, what to take away from this song. Now, very important. I mean, I don't even know where to start because there's so many things to talk about. We've been talking about before trading fours. Now, you guys probably spotted the section that we were sort of giving each other the room, like a completely stop, and Cornel was playing 8 bars in the given time signature, which I'm not going to tell you just now. At the end, we will. So just to make sure that everybody knows. And so we're just going to demonstrate that section. Now, it's very important that you keep the counting while the other player is soloing. Because, of course, we play a lot of polyrhythms, so it's easy to lose the beat. So what we're going to do, a little bit slower at speed, we're going to demonstrate the solo section when Cornel plays on the djembe or the congas, whichever he chooses, because he keeps changing back and forth between. And then I'm going to play my little solo bit, which I'd also like to break down to you. So we're going to do the solo section. A gyors solo részt, amikor felelgetünk. Okay. Cornel will start as per in the composition, and I'm just going to try to keep the pulse happening here.
Very important.
Okay, so that's one thing. Can we tell the time signature now or not yet?
Yeah, let's do it. We got about 5 minutes left, and we still got one more performance piece. So yeah, we're running low on time. Time flew
really?
by. Yeah.
Oh my God, I was going to talk about so many things.
We'll have to save that for the course. We are filming a full course with both of you guys tomorrow, which is going to be available for Edge members. So just come to drumeo.com when you're waiting for guys. Yeah. Hey, what's the time signatures? Let's do it. Let's give it away.
Now, the time signatures are, the whole piece started out in 7/4. Okay? And that was my idea. I mean, like many composition of Thunder Duo, the core idea, the 7/4, it came to me from a crazy idea of who's playing a cha-cha in 7/4. you know, one of our favorite DVD was the Giovanni Hidalgo with Horacio Allegro. We totally loved them. The great players, and most of the stuff was in 4 and in Latin style, and we sort of started to give our flavor to it. So I had this crazy idea: why not play the cha-cha rhythm in 7/4? So basically, the melody is tap tap do doom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1. And then we have a figure. 1, 2. And here we enter a double time feel, but we're still in 7. But instead of playing 7/4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. Now we're in 7/8, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that was the sort of 7/8 clave that Cornell introduced in taka dimi taki da taka dimi taki da taka dimi taki. And I had the crazy idea that why not try to play that clave, the 7/8 clave, on my left foot with the cowbell. So I added that, and of course, independently different 16th note bass drum rhythms going. So I keep the 7/8 clave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Very slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 1. So that's the 7/8. I know we're running low on time, so I'll be quick. Probably you notice at how much we keep an eye contact. Okay, so it's not just the listening. Of course, we're listening, but it's very important that you always set up on the stage that you can keep an eye contact with everybody in the band.
Right.
Because, for example, there's a lot of improvisation going on in this piece, apart from the solo sections. So basically, the bar numbers are open. So it's not like a set structure that this is always like that. No. We improvise and we go with the flow, we go with the audience reaction, and then we give a cue. So normally in a professional music world, it would be called like on cue. Like, for example, the next section, it's either Cornell or IQ. Probably you notice during the performance that we give a hey sound or whatever. You look at each other and you acknowledge that you got the cue, and that's when we change our patterns. So that's when the sort of the polyrhythmic ending came, which we played as a unison. Because it's very important that you don't miss the unisons.
Yeah.
Because if you miss the unisons, that whole band's going to fall apart.
Exactly.
So you need to know your part, and you need to also be aware of what the other person's playing. And if it's a unison, try to play it as tight as possibly can.
Absolutely. Looking at each other is key. I saw you guys vocalizing to each other too, which is key. We talked also about dynamics, keeping your volume low, orchestration, how you're choosing your patterns, giving each other space, obviously not stepping on each other's toes when you're doing trading solos.
Very
and all
important.
that.
Very important.
There's lots of great stuff in here, guys. We got to cut it off because it has been an hour, but we're going to get you to play us one more piece.
I can't believe it's been an hour.
I know.
Well, it's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
It's been great having you back. Guys, you got to check out Gabor's other lesson if you like this, and if you guys are coming from the other lesson because you liked Gabor and you're watching this one, thank you. Also, we're doing a whole course with Gabor and Cornell called Building Rhythmic Tension, and we're going to have a lot more stuff on here. Plus, tomorrow, we're going to be live for free with everyone on Facebook and YouTube and everything like that. We're going to just have a performance hour with Thunder Duo. There's going to be no teaching. It's just going to be nothing but
Playing,
which is going to be really cool. So come on and hang out with us for that. And for those watching here live right now, thanks for joining us. If you like what you see, come to drumeo.com. I mean, we have a lot of great videos like this, and every time we bring special guests out like Gábor and the Thunder Duo, we always do some exclusive courses and material, which is the best stuff we film, in my opinion, and that goes into the members section. So yes, thank you both.
Thank
Gábor.
you for having us.
Cornell, thank you so much. And what are you going to play us out with?
Yes, this is one of our oldest compositions, which again feature some odd time signatures and some polyrhythms against the odd time signatures. And also it's going to feature some vocal percussion. So it's like a multi-layer piece, which is titled Tack Tom. And it also features different world elements. Like, for example, it starts with a Bulgarian rhythm, and then it goes into, as someone refers to it as Indian style or canonical singing. So hope you're going to enjoy. Please make sure to check out Drumeo, make sure to check out thunderduo.com and enjoy the next piece, Tack Tom.
Absolutely. Hey, and if you guys need a shaker in your band, you could be the Thunder Trio.
Thunder Trio.
Yeah.
No.
I can play the triangle.
That's right.
Or the cowbell. Hey, see you guys all later. Take it away, guys.
Here we go.
szólt valami. De...
Woo! Yeah, baby, nice! I didn't have the cordless mic in my ears.